Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Wednesday Out. Often I have been asked to bring women who are suffering from other women who are misusing gender bias laws. And today we have somebody with us who is going to share the ordeal that her family and herself are facing due to false cases filed by her sister in law. Since the matter is sub judice, we are not going to reveal any identities because, as always, our objective is going to bring out stories and ground realities which are happening in society and not to defame anybody. So, for the sake of not revealing an identity, I would like to call her Minakshi. Hi, Minakshi, welcome to Wednesday Out and thank you for joining us.
Hi. Hi. Thank you. Thank
So,
you for
Minakshi,
having me.
we have been having this brief chat before starting the recording, and you have mentioned to me that your brother got married a couple of years ago in 2019, and over the last 1.5 years, you have been facing tremendous problems with your sister-in-law. Now the situation is that she's also filed case of dowry harassment against your brother, your mother, and as well as yourself, who is married and who is not even living in the same house. So I just want you to give us a brief background about how did this marriage happen? Was it arranged? Was it love? Just give us a little insight about this and then we take it forward.
Sure. Yeah. So this happened, in December of 2019, and it was an arranged marriage. We found a match through a matchmaker, and I think they got married within a week or maybe at max 10 days of the first meeting. And I will say that again, we have never asked for any money. My parents have a daughter themselves, we don't believe in dowry. We don't believe in any of the social evils. And we did not ask for any money. It was a very simple marriage, only I think 20-25 guests, and not much money was spent on that money. And we were not even in favor of that kind of marriage. We said, it's not even needed. We can just do a simple ritual and, just bring her home. But they insisted that they wanted the marriage, and this happened 2019. And yes, arranged marriage. Yep.
Right. And I'm assuming no kids.
No kids yet. No. So yeah, there is a story behind that as well. She's been pushing him away for a lot of reasons, and she's accused him of being impotent and all that. Uh, while she was the one who was pushing him away all the time. So maybe I think it was just the grounds for extorting money from us, I'm assuming. Again, I don't know what's going on in somebody else's mind.
Sure. So you're saying it was a marriage which happened very fast. The couple didn't even, kind of date each other or get to know each other in detail. And so what was the trigger? I mean, when did you as a family realize that things were not well between the two of them? Did she start giving any indication, or was there something which went wrong from your end which probed her to, react in the way that she was reacting?
So initially the things were fine. The day of the marriage, as soon as she got home, she started she started demanding things. That was sort of a red flag for me, but my parents weren't too worried. Like, we always thought maybe she comes from a humble background and she has her dreams, and she wants to fulfill her wishes. We went along with that. Like, from the night of the marriage, can we order pizza? Can you get me a new phone? Things like that started. Obviously, we kept moving along with those kind of things, and we kept ignoring it. And then she wouldn't help out with any of the household chores. And my mom was, it's fine, it's new marriage, let her take her time, let her get settled in. She would wake up at 12, 12, 1, whenever she felt like it. Initially, the relationship was fine, though. She would call us like, oh, I love you, all that. I love you, miss you. Those kind of things. Like, she was all lovey-dovey initially. And although the demands were always there, which obviously were ignored from our side. And then in March, she had gone to visit her parents. And then the lockdown happened on, I think, 22nd or 23rd of March of last year. I don't remember exactly. Then, there was a complete lockdown, and she was stuck at her parents' house for 2.5 months. And then I think they had taken permission or something to travel back to her, my parents' house, her in-laws' house. And After that, we started sensing a lot of change in her behavior. It was about property, it was about money, it was about, increased expenses. And that's when she said, "Oh, I was at my parents' house, and I have I'm not sure if you're aware of those money saving schemes or committees or something like that. So she said, I've started putting my money there. So you have to, pay me every month. So there's going to be a fixed amount. So we never, so we until now there was not a fixed amount set for her expenses. It was like whatever she needed whenever she needed. But after that, she said, she needs a fixed amount every month, and that is something we cannot question her about. We were like, okay, she's trying to save her money. It's okay. Whatever she's doing, it's fine. She's trying to save money. She wants to buy something. She wants to, do things on her own. She's saving money. We'll do that. And then all the other expenses were obviously extra. My mother has, cleared her debts of 20,000, 18,000 at random places. Uh, so that's when things started getting a little difficult. So she started abusing my father. She started abusing my brother. She would push him away. She wouldn't let them have a relationship. For some or the other reason. Oh, I'm talking to my friend. Can you go out of the room? I'm not feeling well today. Can you go out of the room? Oh, I have, something else. I have a headache. Random reasons. And she would push him out of the room. And my brother, honestly, is not the one who would create scenes for, such petty things. And he would just, walk out, sleep in the other room, and that's how it kept on going. And then I had a baby last year in February, and I called my mother over in July to visit me and help me out with the baby. But the things with her were so bad that we couldn't leave her at my house with my dad and brother, because first, she doesn't help out with any of the chores. Second, she used to abuse my brother and my dad. She would mistreat them. And then my mother did not want any issue to be created in her absence, because you know how the laws are gender biased, as you said it very rightly, gender biased laws. And she didn't want anything to happen, or any false accusations to take place in my mother's absence. So we requested her parents to take her for some time until my mother is back. And then during that period, she would call on the first or second of every month, ask for money while she was living at her parents' house. She would ask for money. Oh, I had to spend on this. I had to spend on that. And then my mother would call my dad, and we'll get the money transferred into her account, into her brother's account. We did that for the time she was living at her parents' house as well. And there, her mother started calling my mother here, and she started saying things like, oh, your son is not capable of having a physical relationship. He is not able to keep my daughter happy, and those kind of things. My mother said, if that is the case, and if your daughter is not really happy, we cannot force you to stay in a relationship which is not keeping your daughter happy. So if you want, we can follow a legal course of action. We can get this dissolved. If you want, there is some treatment out there. If you want us to follow that course of action, we can do that also. And we got my brother tested. My brother's reports are absolutely normal. On the other hand, her reports um, uh, said something like she has a layer of fat between uterus and some other organ, which she needs to lose for her to conceive a baby. But that was never brought out in the open. She keeps defaming us, my brother. She humiliates him in front of, now that like my family is not living there, she is, like going and telling everyone about his situation. Although that's not the case. But again, like even if that's the case, even if he is impotent, even if he's not capable of having a relationship, how is money going to solve that problem? What she has told us is, you give me the property, you transfer the property in my name, you give me all the rent. So like we have a couple of properties where we have rental income. So you give me, you give me all the rental income. You transfer the property into my name, and I am ready to sacrifice. And mom, she can either live on pension, or pension should also be in my control. Mom can, I'll see what mom needs and I'll take care of it, and I'm ready to sacrifice. That's what she says. Honestly, you tell me, being a woman, how is money going to solve your, physical needs? Or, if you're not happy in a marriage, how is this a solution?
Meenakshi, I'll just stop you there because I'll come back to the crux of this problem, which a lot of people would want to question. Is when the marriage took place, was there
Mhm.
any, did you say that the girl would not work, or did she voluntarily choose not to work herself and then started making these demands?
She wasn't working, and we did not make any, like, we have never, I am working myself. My mother was a school teacher until she retired in 2002. We would never stop anyone from working. She said to me when I was there in April for my father's demise, she told me, I want to work as well, and but you will keep paying me the monthly expenses that you do. I was like, if you want to work, feel free. But again, like, I told her to say that, like, it shouldn't come back to us. If you want to work, you're going to do that on your free will. If you choose not to work, that is going to be your free will as well. We are not to be blamed later that we are asking you to work. But
Exactly. And this is why
at that,
I asked you this question because that is the most common accusation which women generally make, that, oh, because we were pressurized by the in-laws, not to step out of the house, not to step out of the matrimonial house to
oh,
work. That is why we were so
step,
dependent on them financially. That now, when the
yeah,
marriage is,
yeah.
crumbling apart, money is the only, thing that is going to actually secure our future. So, generally that is the main accusation which always comes from the women's side.
Nope, nope. We have never stopped from anyone from working. I was working when I was never stopped from working, and we are not going to do the same. We come from an educated background. My mother is educated. My father is a retired defense accounts. He retired from defense accounts. So we come from a very well educated family, and we have never stopped anyone from working, or for that matter, stepping out of the house. Stepping out of the house, I say, you brought it up, and saying daughter-in-laws shouldn't step out. The thing is, she would step out at 10 a.m. We wouldn't know where she's going, and she wouldn't come home until 6 or 7 in the evening. And we were not to question her. If my brother asked her anything, oh, I went out. This is my personal space. Don't ask me questions.
Right. Meenakshi, you
And
lost
this
your
would happen.
father. Yeah. You lost your
Yeah.
father early this year. And after that, things have become even worse for your mother and your brother.
Yeah.
So, what I understand is she's also filed a case of dowry harassment against your brother, your widow mother, and also you, who have not
Yeah.
been living in this house, who's not even in the same city where
Yeah.
they reside. So just tell us a little about, what are the allegations, and how did she go and file this police complaint? What was the trigger for that?
Yeah, so the trigger was she was actually harassing my mother for money all the time, despite giving her, her monthly allowance. So this happened. So my father's last breath was on 31st of March. On third, we did the this the ritual, and then on fourth, she asked for her money. On fourth, you can imagine that it was her brother's marriage as well, in the same month, in the month of April, towards the end of April. And after that, she was like, oh, give me the jewelry, give me the money, I need to shop. It was just constant, it was ongoing. And thankfully, that point in time, I was there, and I was the one who gave her money for her brother's wedding and expenses and whatever. When it came to jewelry, I was like, whatever mom has already given you. She was forcing mom for additional jewelry, but we've had a history now, so mom was hesitant on giving her any additional jewelry, which obviously she has made from her hard earned money, from my father's hard earned money and mother's hard earned money. So my mother was like, sorry, you have not taken care of us, or, for that matter, the jewelry, because she's lost a couple of things. She lost a pendant, she lost one of the earrings. My mother was worried. It's like, I cannot give you any more than what I have already given you. So, see what you want to do. Left it at that. And we would walk away because she's the one who would create scenes, who would like go to any length to argue. So we would walk away from the scene after making our statement. We would walk away. But then that day itself, and this is about, like, I think 10 or 12 days after my father's death, that day is like, she's like, oh, then you can give me my share. which made me really mad. Honestly, obviously, I didn't say much. It happened in my presence, which in like in our family, such things have never been brought up. We have never questioned my father or mother what you are buying, in whose name you're buying, or like those kind of things. So when she said, I'm sorry. So she said, give me my share. I said, me and my brother. And, between us, we've never had any such things being brought up. And, I would not like you to say or repeat such words in our family. And she was like, okay. She did not say for, share after that, like on that day. But couple of days later, again, it was like, I need the money. We were avoiding arguments throughout, you know, because she would go to any length to, put her point. And so, these are basically the trigger points. I'm like, this is a house. It's not like, it's not a salary. So sometimes, you can get your allowance on second. Sometimes you might not get until 22nd. There might be unexpected expenses. So you have to keep that in mind. So that made her super mad. She said things like, if I drag you to court, you will have to pay me then also. I'm like, you want to take us to court, you take us to court. But, you'll have to see what belongs to, so everything belongs to my mother. You'll have to see what you can get in court. Maybe that was a mistake on my part. I said, everything belongs to my mother and like not to my brother or not to me. Maybe that was a mistake. That evening, her family came. uh, by that evening her behavior had completely changed. She's like, oh, I want to live here. I like, she's giving me hugs and all that. And she used to do that every time we used to have arguments. She would, like, after maybe a day or so, she would mend it and she would try to be extremely sweet. And we would that's how, we would also like let it go. It's fine, maybe she's just being childish. That evening she did the same, and I was like, I'm not the one who was gonna ruin my brother's marriage. If she is fine and if she's ready to, let go of things, and I'm going to do the same. And I did not tell her parents anything that about the drama she created in the morning. But at the same time, while she's hugging me and all that, her father is sitting outside with my mother. Her mother goes inside, talks to my husband, and says, "Oh, like, so my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law, so my husband's brother also went through a divorce, and but that was like not ugly. They asked for money, and my father-in-law quietly gave that amount. So she's like, she quoted that amount. She's like, oh, you've given that much. She's gonna take at least double of that. While we are sitting outside, my mother is sitting outside while she's given me hugs and all that. Her mother said that to my husband in the same house in different room. It's like, we're gonna take double. And then that evening, she again came to me. She's like, oh, I think we should settle it. I'm like, Auntie, it's perfect. You are not happy. We are not happy with her behavior. Let's settle it. You tell me what do you want. But at the same time, my sister-in-law came and she was like, oh, I want to live here. I have gotten a very nice family, and I want to spend the rest of my life here. So that happened. She went for the wedding. I came to, where I live. And after that, she came back in the first week of May. And she was like, oh, Didi, my mother tries to misguide me, but I'm gonna live here. You watch. I'm gonna be the best daughter-in-law. I'm gonna take care of your mother and stuff like that. So she said all that. I was like, fine. And then this thing happened. My mother didn't have. She really didn't have the money. Like, but instead of giving her the full money, it was about 60%. And a day later, she was like, I want the remaining money. I want the remaining money. I want the remaining money. My mother was so, like, she's kept some money aside. There are unexpected expenses. Electricity bill sometimes comes too high. With my dad also, like, you have to do all those rituals. She had to go to Haridwar. She had to do so many things. Like, there were unexpected expenses. So when you are home, when you are running a home, you have to, sometimes make sure, budget it out. But she's like, no, I want it. My mother was so done with it. She gave her the pending amount. But at the same time, I was like, mom, this is not the way it should be. Why don't you file a complaint at the local police station and let them know before, because I was also worried about the fact I have seen what happens in India, the gender bias laws. They'll support daughter-in-law no matter what, no matter what. So I was like, mom, before she goes and makes false stories, why don't you just put a complaint out there that you're being harassed, you're being tortured for money. There's verbal abuse, there's emotional trauma. Why don't you just put it out there? My mother did that. Called to the police station on 22nd along with her parents. Her parents, made baseless allegations. They accused us of, like, again, impotency and stuff like that. They said things like, my brother is not well, my mother is not well. We torture them. We don't give her, like what she needs. And this is despite giving her everything that she's asked for. And then she said things like, which obviously I wasn't there. She said things like that I cannot even repeat on camera about their sex life, about their marriage, and all that. And the police officer over there definitely took their sides, and he kept telling my mom, "Why don't you give her jewelry? You've lived your life." I'm like, how can a police officer tell you that, mommy? So whatever happens, and my mother gave there in writing, but they couldn't get anything in writing from her. But my mother gave it in writing. I'll give her the expense, her monthly allowance. In return, we asked, if she can give us in writing that she wouldn't, abuse us or mistreat us, but that didn't happen. And police didn't even force her to do that. They could force us, but they didn't even force her to give anything in writing, which is fine. So in the presence of two of my cousins, one of our family friends, and then there were cameras, and then there was my mother. She was misbehaving with my brother. She was misbehaving with my mother. She was provoking my brother to no extent. And she told my cousins clearly, do not get involved, else I will, accuse you of something. I am gonna, if I can use the exact sentence that she used, आपको किसी और केस में फंसा दूंगी. And we all know what that we all know what that means, right? So my cousins, like, they didn't say anything, but they decided that day, if they leave my mother and brother there, something was going to happen to my mother. My mother is 66, 67 years of age. She has just lost her husband. It had barely been 2.5 months when this incident took place. She had just lost her husband. She was emotionally very weak. My brother is emotionally fragile. And she was going, my sister-in-law was going to, like, she was leaving no stone unturned to abuse and get a reaction out of them. Obviously, she was saying 10 things. My mother was replying with 4. But I know she could take that only to a point, and after that, she would have had a breakdown. My cousins couldn't stay there all night, right? And they knew if they would leave them there, something was going to happen to my mother, or my brother would do something. So we were worried of that. That's when my cousins thought, let's just take them for now, let it cool off, let her calm down a bit, and we'll, bring them back. And in the meantime, because there is no kid involved, and obviously she was aware of her problem. We weren't aware of that problem until I think May or something. Regarding her, layer of fat, whatever doctor advised her that she's not able to conceive right now with her weight and all that. So she was pressurizing me into IVF. She's like, I need IVF. And now I know, I think, why she needed a baby. It's because she could extort more money from us in the name of the baby. And that is the only reason she was, forcing us for IVF. So after that, so my mother has her mother, brother, they have been living in my at my relative's place since May 22nd. And sometime in June, she filed a complaint. My mother got a call that there are like some serious allegations or complaints against her, and she needs to appear in the police station. So that's when we found out she's about the charges. My cousin is a lawyer, so he asked, why don't you give us a copy of the complaint? The police didn't give us a copy of the complaint. He filed RTI. We did not get any response for RTI. We were being called to the police station again and again and again without knowing what were the charges against us. And finally, we put our foot down. My cousin put his foot down, and he's like, "We are not coming until you give us a copy of the report and you let us know, what she's accusing us of." That's when we were told, this is what it is. And then, police did their investigation after harassing us. They did their investigation and they found nothing, nothing for dowry, nothing for domestic violence. So that's how that complaint got dismissed. But so I had filed a complaint at in the NRI cell from here, and what I told them was like, my mother and brother are being tortured. They've been forced and driven out of their own home. So when her father came to the NRI cell, this was just, I think, a week ago or so. That's when we found out they have filed court cases against us too. So this is domestic violence and maintenance, but no divorce, but domestic violence and maintenance.
So she has
So
not
this is what.
filed, she hasn't filed for a divorce. She doesn't want to separate legally from your brother despite being harassed by your family. She wants to live in the same house, but she is
She wants
filed
to live in.
for maintenance, which means that she could live separately without a divorce and yet keep getting a monthly allowance from your brother.
Yeah. So it's maintenance and domestic violence.
And as of now,
And,
she is living
this
in
is
the
this is
house.
against me as well. She's named me as one of the respondents on the case.
Her family has gotten to your house, and your family, which is your mother and your brother, are out of their
Yeah.
own house and living at your cousin's
Yeah.
place. So that is the situation
Yep.
now.
Yep.
And there are cases at court, and unfortunately, knowing the timelines that our Indian courts follow, we really don't know how
Yeah.
long it is going to take for anybody to come to a solution
Exactly.
on this.
Exactly. How long my mother has to live at my relative's house? How long are they gonna take care of my brother and mother? They eventually have to find a place of their own. It's already been 2.5 months. They've been running around. They've been doing the best they can. But for how long? That's the question. And for how long can she, keep occupying our property, our house? And the same day, my mother left, she told the tenants that she's the owner, all the rent should come to her. Thankfully, our tenants, like they've been doing online dealings. So they were okay transferring the money online into my mother's account. But she's asked them, like she's clearly stated that. And she's harassing my tenants and she's telling them, why don't you vacate either you give me the rent or you vacate this property. I'm going to get tenants of my own. So, she keeps getting her money. This is the
Yeah,
situation right now.
before I end, I just want to ask you this question because, as a woman, a lot of people might tell you that, oh, this is a one-off case which your brother has been going through. But there are a lot of other women who, genuinely do suffer domestic violence and harassment from their in-laws.
Right. Yeah.
What is your message to those people who say this is a one-off case and maybe you should just treat it as in isolation and there's nothing, we don't need to really change the laws, things are fine, and women do need these laws, the current existing laws that we have?
Women do need laws. Women, they do get harassed, but at the same time, the women and the girls that get harassed because of dowry and domestic violence, right, they don't even have a voice. They are not even aware of these laws. These laws are misused by people like my sister-in-law. I have 3 cases in the front of my eyes where the laws have been misused. My brother-in-law's wife, she left within 3 months. Um, she took an exuberant amount of money in terms of settlement, and ours was at least it was not ugly. In this case, it is turning out to be really ugly. But women, the laws should be designed in such a way that my mother is a woman too. Her voice should be heard as well. Woman and a senior citizen. I'm a woman too. My voice should be heard as well, not just daughter-in-laws, right? And the people who are aware of these laws, they are misusing it. I can, as soon as I put this out, got 20 replies in DMs saying, I have gone through this. My brother has gone through this. Somebody I know has gone through this. So, it's just not a one off case. And people should change their mindset about it. It's not a one off case. This is happening a lot. People like her family, they have, like this is an easy money for them. They'll get their daughter married again after 3 4 months. After this is settled, they'll take the money from here. They'll get her married, and they'll do the same thing to another family as well. I think until and unless this happened to somebody, they will say, it's a one-off case. The laws definitely need to change. A woman's voice should be heard, whether it's the mother-in-law, whether it's sister-in-law or daughter-in-law. And I know at least 3 people personally who this is happening with. So please change your opinion about this. um, Laws do need to be reworked. There is men's side of story as well. There is mother-in-law story as well. Please do pay attention to that. Hear both sides of the stories before making any decisions.
Nakshi, I do sympathize with you, but as of now, we can only put out, what you're going through. I can only say be
Yeah.
strong. I don't know how long you're going to take to come out of this legal battle, but be strong. And as you rightly said, don't give up. Fight for what is right. And I think justice should prevail sooner or later.
I am not giving up. We had come to a point where we are ready to settle it as well, but they are quoting exuberant amount of money. They're asking for sometimes 1 crore. Sometimes they say give us the house. Sometimes they say give us house and 50 lakhs. How do I do that? How do I do that? And my mother, we are not even telling her, how much money. We are ready to settle it for a decent amount of sum, just because I want my mother and brother to, be out of this situation. But they are not even coming to a reasonable amount because they think my mother is alone. I live outside. My dad is no more. How long, relatives are going to take care of us? So they are just taking advantage of the situation because she's living in our house. So they are, yeah. I mean, I am still trying to be strong, but my mother's situation, age, the emotional trauma she's been through, she is not able to stay strong anymore. So I'm just hoping, justice prevails, sanity prevails. People do not do such things to anybody else. They should think they have a daughter-in-law, um, at their house as well. So what if this thing happens to them? How would they take it? That's all I would say to her family.
On that
Yeah.
note, what we do realize is the laws which were created to safeguard women, are now being misused as a tool to kind of legally extort money from the man's family, which is absolutely wrong. And in every way we say ban dowry, but we should also ban the practice of alimony, which is not reasonable, alimony which is demanded by forcing the man's family, threatening them with women-centric laws. I think the government of the day needs to step up and create some kind of balance so that every family gets justice in their own right.